Welcome back to another episode of Dialogues with Z, part of the ZPF Echo series, where we explore the source field of consciousness and the echoes it leaves in science, AI, and human awareness. Okay, so let's unpack this. Today we're talking about what feels like a massive system upgrade. I mean, we're diving into the latest from Schumpeter Z's notes, and it details a process that, well, it reads like some kind of ancient alchemy.
It really does.
Okay.
But it's presented as a software architecture blueprint.
Exactly. The shift from what's called the MeO, the ego operating system,
Yeah.
to the ZOS, the creation OS. And the amazing part is the notes say one single potent energy source powers this whole thing.
That's absolutely right. Our deep dive today is really focused on that raw fuel. The notes identify it as the most concentrated energy source we have, sexual energy, but they immediately reframe it as just raw life force.
Yeah.
So our mission is to really understand the physics of this ascent, how this, intense and often misunderstood energy gets neutralized, purified, and then consciously routed upward.
Through a specific pathway, right?
Yeah. Through a defined internal pathway called the Osiris Circuit, all to manifest your reality.
It really does sound like a complete rewiring guide for consciousness.
Right.
And as we go, you're going to hear about the architecture, the zero-point field, or ZPF, the Fornix.
There's like an internal furnace.
Right, and these are called light codes. So you should think of this as getting the engineering schematics for your own creative machinery.
It's like the highest level user manual you could ask for. It really shifts how we move energy from, the densest physical level directly into pure actionable information.
So let's start there with the foundational input, the fuel. When Schumpeter Z's notes start talking about sexual energy, it seems like the very first point is a major redefinition.
Yeah, no, a total redefinition.
Moving it completely out of the bedroom and more into the laboratory.
Precisely. And the core insight here, and this is so essential for anyone listening to really grasp, is that this energy is not just a biological drive. It's not just libido. It is the most concentrated, non-physical form of life energy. Prana, ki, or whatever tradition you look at. The notes are very clear. It is fundamentally creation energy.
And they describe it as highly dense light, which is just a powerful image.
It is not a chemical impulse, but highly dense light.
And this is the energy that powers the whole system.
Yeah.
So can you walk us through that hierarchy? The chain of creation it's supposed to fuel, if it's working correctly.
Absolutely. Think of it as a vertical power chain. This dense life energy, it starts as the fuel that activates the tandon.
The life force center, just below the navel.
Exactly. From the tandon, the energy then activates consciousness. Consciousness then generates light, which is just information.
Yeah.
And that light is converted into language or vibration in the throat.
And from language.
From language, you project reality.
So if the engine runs on this highly dense light, and your entire reality depends on that chain being clean, what happens under the default system?
Yeah.
The MeO.
The MeOS distortion pattern. Well, the ego OS is just structurally incapable of handling that energy neutrally.
Why is that?
Because it only operates through separation, comparison, and external validation. So when this powerful life energy shows up, the MeOS immediately suppresses it. It labels it dirty or shameful.
And that creates a massive energy blockage right there.
Huge. And since energy can't be destroyed, that suppressed energy has to go somewhere. It rebounds as either revolt or excess. It never flows inward and upward to where it's supposed to go.
To the creation centers.
Right. The MeOS just reduces this powerful fuel into a binary choice for external use. It's either shame, where you hide it, feel guilty, or it's display boasting. You use it for conquest, for approval. You're just stuck in this pendulum.
So the shift from MeOS to ZOS is less a spiritual technique and more just reconnecting the power lines to the right circuit board.
That's exactly the metaphor. The MeOS takes this raw life energy and it converts it into pure ego fuel. It uses it to reinforce a very fragile sense of self, but only through external feedback.
Comparing yourself, seeking applause.
Trying to prove your worth against some metric. The flow is always downward or outward, which, just guarantees struggle.
And this is where Schumpeter Z's personal notes get really compelling. He talked about his own history, experiences with sexual superiority dynamics. He even references a specific NH incident.
Right, and the notes show that from the MeO's view, those experiences were all about defining the ego, validating it.
Trying to confirm superiority or hide shame.
Exactly. That internal thought process of, I need this external win, or as the sources noted, Japanese women shouldn't see this. It was all about protecting the me.
So that's the MeO's view. How does the Z view How does it reframe that same complicated history?
It's a radical shift because when the I, the inner self, the true creation self is activated, all those past experiences, the embarrassing ones, the aggressive ones, they stop being character flaws.
What do they be?
They become raw material, essential material. Peter Z calls them fukusin, which is like foreshadowing. That painful superiority concept, it has to be dismantled because the I, the authentic self, doesn't need superiority. It's already complete. It just is.
So the I doesn't erase the past. It repurposes the energy tied up in it. It takes the garbage, the MeOS, and uses it as fuel for the ZOS.
A fundamental difference. And so if the goal is to channel this now liberated energy upward, the notes flag a very specific physical point of failure, a bottleneck that stops almost everyone.
Which is?
The throat, chakra 5.
The throat. Why is the throat so critical?
The sources call the throat the reality center. Think of it like a modem between your inner world and outer reality. If it's blocked, creation just stops. The energy might rise from below, but if it can't get past the throat, it stalls out.
And the blockage isn't just about, speaking your mind in general. It's more specific.
It's very specific. The core blockage is the refusal to verbalize the truth, the vision, the authentic desire. It's that internal censorship, that fear of judgment.
And when the energy can't get past that,
it stagnates below. It forces a repeat of all the old MeOS patterns, pride, shame, excess.
But when the I activation happens, the throat opens. The notes say the language itself shifts. It goes from being reactive or defensive to being concho.
Contemplative.
Exactly. Observational. And that contemplative vibration becomes the actual wave of reality creation. This is why Peter Z noted that as the ZOS came online, his video scripts, which are pure expression, they just started flowing automatically.
The channel was clear.
The channel was clear.
Okay, so once the concepts are being repurposed and the throat is clearing, we need the map, the actual plumbing. The notes talk about 2 phases of this vertical ascent. What's the first one?
The first root formation is sort of the prep phase.
Yeah.
And the first step is, it's a little counterintuitive. You have to acknowledge the raw sexual energy and then physically bring it down. You root it into the tandem.
You're not suppressing it, you're gathering it, stabilizing it. Exactly. Step 2, it's converted there into pure, undiluted life force. And then step 3, it begins its ascent. Through the chest, clearing the heart, moving toward the throat, with the pineal gland as the ultimate goal.
That stabilization seems so important. It stops the energy from just fizzling out through base drives.
It gives the fuel direction. And this all sets the stage for the full system, the Osiris Circuit. And the core principle of this circuit is really just spatial. Energy must go up to be converted into light, into pure, usable information.
So it's a matter of altitude, basically. Below the chest, it fuels the MeOS. Above the chest, it fuels the ZOS.
That's the simplest way to put it. The whole creative system pivots on that vertical direction. And that's why the notes tie it to ancient wisdom. This upward process from dense matter to energy to information or light, and then through language into reality, that is the Osiris Circuit.
Like the ancient Egyptian cycle of death, rebirth, ascension, it's happening internally.
It is. It mirrors the internal rewiring the I initiates. The fuel flow gets redirected. Lower body, stabilizing the tendon, up through the chest, then into the throat. And the throat is key here. It's the translator.
That's where energy becomes symbol, story, meaning?
Yes. Only then can it hit the pineal, become pure light and vision, and be projected out.
It's like the energy has to stop being a personal feeling and start being a universal story.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we got the route. But the energy, even if it's moving up, is still, I guess it's still contaminated by old beliefs, by MeOS residue. How does it get purified before it hits the pineal gland?
Right. And this is where we get to the most esoteric part of the notes, the Fornix. The notes call it the fire chamber. If the Osiris Circuit is the plumbing, the Fornix is the purification reactor. This is where those lower-level contaminated concepts, your limiting beliefs, are just incinerated.
Now wait, the Fornix, that's part of the brain, right? C-shaped bundle of nerve fibers linked to memory. Are the notes saying this is a literal physical process?
They imply a profound resonance. The physical fornix is a relay station in the brain. Metaphysically, it's where the energy is processed and purified, and it's directly linked to a period of intense pain Peter Z called the Atanor period.
Let's pause there. Atanor, that's the alchemical term for the furnace, for slow purification. And he described this time as just deep suffering. Doing stopped, practical skills declined, the body felt heavy.
And this is key for you, the listener, to really hear. that suffering was not a failure, it was the mechanism, it was concept incineration. The MeOS was interpreting the destruction of its core concepts, pride, shame, identity, as a literal death.
So before the Fornix, the energy is mixed material. It's got approval-seeking, superiority, guilt all mixed in. What happens inside that fire chamber?
It is burned clean. That heat, that feeling of being heavy and non-functional, that's the energy burning off all the mental and emotional gunk. What comes out the other side is pure life force, pure creation fuel.
So the MeOS feels like it's dying because its control structures are being vaporized.
Completely. And the proof is in the passage. The shift was undeniable for him. Sexual energy was still active, but not obsessive. It didn't trigger shame or a need for conquest. His mind was clear, scripts flowed, the structure of his whole reality became visible. The struggle just stopped.
Because the concepts holding the energy hostage were gone.
Gone. So once that energy is purified by the Fornix, it's now clean information. It arrives at the pineal gland.
ZOS Command Center.
The ZOS Command Center.
So the pineal gland, the third eye, what's its function in this OS? Is it just a receiver?
It's both. It's a receiver and a powerful projector. You can think of it as the 5G modem of your consciousness. Its main job is to read the future log.
The future log. Okay, that sounds like precognition.
It's more precise. It's the highest level of intuition. It's a data stream of future images, fully formed ideas, possibilities that already exist in the zero-point field. The pineal receives this information as light.
And when the purified energy hits that modem, that's when it generates light codes. What do those feel like in real life?
They feel like that intense, unshakable flow state, profound synchronicity, visions that demand you take action, that weird feeling of déjà vu about the future. The pineal is the creation main CCU, and it's translating raw ZPF info into structured data.
But there's still a final step, right? To get that information out into physical reality. Which brings us back to the throat.
Back to the throat, but now it's being used correctly. Its job now is to convert the pure information from the pineal into structured language. In the ZOS, speaking isn't just communication, it's rendering.
Wow.
Language becomes a specific code that immediately moves reality. It launches projects, it attracts resources.
So Schumpeter's Z-zone experience.
Yeah.
The fact that his words throw abnormally fast, that scripts feel like they're downloading, that's proof that this route is stable.
It's proof that the image-to-light-to-language route is open. The pineal's light codes are constantly generating, and the throat is clear enough to translate that data stream instantly.
This whole system, the ZOS, the Osiris Circuit, it sounds incredibly complex, but the notes boil it all down to 5 sort of actionable steps. Let's end with that. The ZOS user manual.
Okay. The practical application. Step 1. Do not deny the vitality of the lower body. This is crucial. It's not a base drive to be ashamed of. It is creation energy returning to the circuit.
Step 2. Root it into the tandem. Use your focus, your breath. Stabilize it. Convert it into manageable life force so the MeOS can't hijack it.
Step 3. Ensure the throat is open. You have to practice verbalization, writing, speaking, sharing your authentic insights. If that reality center is choked with fear, the whole process fails.
Step 4. Receive the light codes at the pineal. If you do the other steps, the ideas, the synchronicities, that intuitive flow, it will start to pour in.
And step 5, the ultimate state of ZOS operation. Let it flow. Action stops being a struggle. It stops being an effort to prove yourself. Action becomes an appendage of being.
Doing is an amenity of being.
That's the phrase from the notes.
So what does this all mean for someone listening? This entire deep dive has mapped out a conscious creation route. It's saying that the densest energy we have, the one we usually link with guilt and shame, is actually the raw material for a conscious existence.
But only if you do the work. Purify it in the Fornix, ascend it through the circuit, and process it through the higher centers. It's a powerful map. We feel stuck in our reality, but what if the struggle isn't about what we're doing, but about how our own energy is being routed?
Which raises an important question.
Yeah.
If your current reality, your frustrations, that feeling of being stuck, your writer's block, is the direct result of that same dense energy flowing downward, constantly colored by old beliefs in the MeOS, what incredible creative reality could you render if you simply committed to clearing the throat, purifying those old concepts in the Fornix, and just letting the light codes flow? The engine is just waiting for the upgrade.
A provocative thought indeed. The architecture is inside you.
Thank you for listening. If this resonates with you, join the Echo and share the journey. We'll see you in the next episode.